What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Now, a huge thank you to each and every single one of you for taking the times out of your days to be here, and I know I say it every single day, but I bloody mean it. So thank you so much for being here. It really does mean the world to me and to this channel as we approach the 50k mark. This is down to you guys, so thank you so much. And with that being said, let's get on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from Feisty Complaint. Am I the arsehole for helping my child leave home and telling my ex-wife that she's the reason our daughter hates her? My ex-wife and I split about 6 years ago. We have one child together, Sarah, 18. Now, Sarah is a trans woman and came out when she was 14. I am extremely happy that she felt comfortable enough to be herself, but my ex didn't agree. She was happy when we thought we had a gay son, but she couldn't accept the fact we actually have a daughter. When we first split, I moved into a crappy one-bedroom flat in a pretty rough area. I have since moved into a bungalow in a slightly better area. I didn't want Sarah having to come to that area, so she stayed with her mum and I would visit her, take her out and phone her every day. My ex was going out of her way to call Sarah he/him and would use her old name constantly. She even went as far as joking about how it was just her luck that she would have a transphobic slur for a child. However, though it was absolutely disgusting, Sarah told me it was okay and at the very least she wasn't in any physical danger. I figured I'd deal with this until I found a better place. I'd offered to let Sarah take my room and I'd sleep on the couch, but she wouldn't hear of it. 2 months ago, Sarah phoned me one night in absolute tears. She'd been growing her hair out for ages, and at the rate her hair grows, it reaches just below her shoulders. She was thrilled. That night, my ex had offered to give her hair a little trim. She told Sarah it was just to cut off some of the dead ends. Sarah immediately said yes, as this would help tidy up her hair a little bit, and she had thought this was her mum's way of trying to accept her. She wasn't. My ex cut a massive chunk out of her hair, bringing it back to just above her neck. Sarah was absolutely gutted. She had been working so hard to get to that point. When she told me, I saw red. Over the next couple of weeks, I helped Sarah move her things into my house while her mum was out. We made sure we had all of her important documents and such, and then I went with her to tell her mum that she was leaving. There was an argument and a few insults thrown, but I got Sarah out and now she's living with me. We got her haircut and styled into a pixie cut until it grows back. Last week, my ex posted on Facebook about her depression. She had been talking about how she had never felt so low, and that was worse that she didn't have anyone at home who could comfort her when she was feeling down. In the comments, she mentioned that I brainwashed Sarah into hating her, and that if anything happens to her, then it's on myself and Sarah for leaving her by herself. I couldn't help myself and posted a lengthy comment about how it was her fault that our daughter hated her, and that if she'd been a better mother, then maybe our daughter would still want to be in her life. Needless to say, I've gotten some backlash. Even a few of my friends have said I was a bit harsh. I don't know what to think here. Ugh, what an absolute disgusting person. Not only what she did to your daughter's hair, but then to say, when you took her out of that situation, to say if anything was to happen to her, that'd be your guy's fault. That's absolutely disgusting. Trying to put that pressure on you too. And I love it when people turn to Facebook to like get some sympathy from people and then it backfires on them that you called her out for it. So well done to you for that. But let's have a look at some of the comments below to see what they say. Troy91 says, not the arsehole. She wanted to take this public. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The Mirror's Truth says, not the arsehole. She was cruel and abusive towards your daughter. This mother deserves no sympathy. Wish you had gotten your daughter out sooner, but now that she's in a good place with a loving, supportive parent. Flaming Sapphire Uwu says, you aren't the a-hole. Helping your daughter is the right thing to do. And Aqua Regis says, not the arsehole. She blamed you for it on social media, well within your rights to set the record straight. And finally, Little Oreo says, not the arsehole, you did perfect. You're protecting your daughter from an abusive mother. Keep doing it. If she harms herself, it is only her fault, as she is alone because she was neglecting and verbally abusing her own daughter. The most important person here is your daughter and her well-being. I wish you all the luck in the world and a beautiful life. Now, I turn it to you guys. What would you do in this situation? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for not letting my brother and his wife come to my wedding after he kicked me out? I, male 25, currently live alone and work as a mechanic. Both my parents are deceased. I have an older brother who took me in after my parents' house was taken, and it was an absolute difficult phase. I was working at an auto shop and was demanded to pay for food/household stuff for my brother and his wife so I could continue to live with them. I couldn't save enough money to move out, and it got worse. My life turned upside down when I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma at the local community hospital. At first, several doctors could not identify the type of cancer I had. Unsure what to do, I was referred to a specialist, which required me to pay X amount of money. I stopped working because I was too weak. My brother's wife completely ignored what I was going through and started complaining about me being at their house and not helping. She kept trying to turn my brother against me, and he ended up getting into a huge argument with me while I was undergoing chemotherapy for a second month, and I was kicked out by my brother, who claimed my condition was my own problem and he had no obligation to take care of an adult, just his kids. I was a complete mess. A friend of mine took me in. He was confused by my brother's actions and lack of empathy. He had to be treating me like this in my darkest days. Relatives weren't present as much as I hoped for them to be. It was an incredibly difficult phase for me. I was mad and frustrated. This affected my treatment, and my brother only showed up once at the hospital but gave me nothing. It's been over 2 years now. My fiance lives in another town, currently taking her end of semester exams. We're getting married in January. A relative of mine gave the news to my brother. Clearly he has been asking about me for a while, and he wanted to come to me several times, but I refused to let him. He knew about the wedding and said he and his wife wanted to come. Said he was hurt other people were invited but he wasn't. Pretended that I was being hostile towards him for no reason, and said his wife is the one encouraging him to call me and visit right now. Funny, she did the opposite while I was struggling. I refused to give him an invitation or even have a talk with him because of how much heartache that's been caused already. But I was getting criticism from my stance and was told to forgive and forget. I guess my brother didn't know how serious my condition was, as we had this argument while I was beginning my treatment. He actually thought it was okay that I could handle myself as an adult. He had his own issues and didn't care enough to fix things between us, instead thought his wife was right about me. I love it when people say everything should be forgiven and forgotten, when they're not the ones who went through all this shit. They didn't have to go through chemotherapy, and believe me, I've seen my dad go through that, and that kicked the shit out of him. It's an absolute awful thing to go through. And it kind of sounds to me like he didn't want to be through you through the hard times, through the chemotherapy, through the cancer you were suffering from, had no empathy. But now there's a little party coming his way. They want to be invited. Nah, fuck that. Keep them out of your life, from my opinion. He got a lot of groveling to do, if you accept that at all. But let's read some of the comments below to see what they say. Crack the Nut says, not the arsehole. Cancer treatment is one of the hardest things you can go through. For your brother's wife to get mad that you aren't helping around the house, chemo takes everything out of you. And then for your brother to take her side and kick you out? No, absolutely not the arsehole. I'm sorry they did that to you, and I do not blame you one bit for not inviting them to your wedding. Footy Two Shoe says, forgive and forget are the words that people who have never been in that situation throw around because they simply can't comprehend the gravity of what happened. If him and the wife wasn't taking money from you, you would have been able to save up and get yourself a place of your own, but no, they sucked you dry, then literally left you to die. No, they don't get to act like the victim here, and to be honest, I would tell the whole story to the relatives. If they still can't understand where you're coming from and continue to give you shit about it, I'd go as far as uninviting them too. Not the arsehole. Stand your ground. You've made it through so much. This is nothing. Return of the Bob says, haha, anyone who's supporting your brother can go and shove a Carolina Reaper up their anal sphincter and then eat it, repeat. Not the arsehole. Thank you for that one, Bob. And Aqua Regis says, not the arsehole. He wasn't interested in the hard bit of being a brother. He can't just enjoy the party parts. Now, I turn it to you guys. What would you do in this situation? Would you sort it out with a brother, or would you say no, he's definitely not invited after what he did? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Carbon Copy 404. Am I the arsehole for telling my boyfriend he's a bad person? Hi, sorry for any bad formatting as I'm on mobile. So recently my boyfriend got some dental trays for his teeth done, moulds of your teeth, which can be used to put product in to whiten your teeth. He's done this before but lost his last set of trays, so went somewhere new to get some new trays done. My boyfriend told me that when he was going to pick up his dental trays, the receptionist just gave him the trays without asking for payment of them. He then took the trays and left knowing he had not paid for them. The receptionist called shortly after he left and explained that a mistake was made and could he please either come back and pay for the trays or pay over the phone. My boyfriend lied, saying he was adamant he had already paid before picking the trays up, as it wasn't his fault that they had no record of him paying / that he didn't keep his receipt to prove it to them. He was pretty vocal to me about not wanting to pay for the dental trays if he didn't have to, and that it was the receptionist's mistake and on her. What sparked an argument about this was a car journey where he answered the phone to the manager of the dental practice, who was following up the call with the receptionist. My boyfriend continued with his lie that he already paid and it was not his problem that they could not provide proof of this. Now, something about witnessing him lie so easily to this man really bothered me. And it bothered me that he didn't care if the receptionist may get into serious trouble or even lose her job over this mistake, or that he wasn't losing out by paying, as he would have paid for the product in normal circumstances. After the call, which didn't reach any resolution, I told him that was very uncomfortable for me to hear and witness, and he's a bad person for lying like that when he knows full well it was likely an honest mistake by the receptionist, and he got a product he didn't pay for. My boyfriend's now given me the silent treatment and seems really hurt that I called him a bad person. He says most people avoid paying for something if they didn't have to. Am I the arsehole? Should I apologise? Ah, dear. Now, from what I know, well, I've never had one of these dental trays or anything like that before, but I imagine they are quite expensive. If they're moulds, they need to do certain things to actually mould them around your mouth, I assume, which is an expensive task, I imagine, for a dentist to do. So for you not to pay, and I know it was a mistake, is, it is a totally dishonest thing to do. And, the receptionist might get in trouble over this, which makes it even worse. And I think that's probably the worst thing, that you may potentially get someone in trouble over it and not even care about it, really. It just seems like you're just brushing it off and so like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Everyone gets a freebie once in a while. But let's have a look at some of the comments to see what they say. Zwerg Schnauzer says, not the arsehole in the least. Huge red flag here. What your boyfriend did is outright stealing. He is also stupid. This is the 21st century. The dentist knows he didn't pay, and the police will know that too when the dentist presses charges. J Hercules says, not the arsehole. You called him a bad person because he is. Dental equipment is expensive, so that dental tray was in the hundreds if not thousands. He lied and knows the receptionist could be fired over his lie and doesn't care. This sets up a disturbing pattern. Dump him as fast as you can. Rogue's Gambit says, not the arsehole, he's a thief and a liar. Coming from the rogue. Orca Girl says, absolutely not the arsehole. You're right to be nervous about him being able to lie that easily, and the fact that he is okay with stealing is even more concerning. I would definitely think strongly about this relationship. Not saying you should dump him, but maybe have a chat with him about how this makes you feel about the relationship as a whole. And a long strange something says, not the arsehole, dishonesty isn't a good trait. The receptionist might lose her job because of this, and the fact that he thinks that he's the victim makes him an extra bad person. I would call the office and let them know this. I would then dump him, or before calling. You can do better. Now I turn it to you guys. What do you think of this situation? What would you do if you was OP? Would you report him? Would you dump him? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for demanding to be in the delivery room when my future daughter-in-law gives birth? I'll just explain the situation really quickly. My son, 23 years old, and his fiancée, 21 years old, are expecting a baby boy. Clearly it wasn't planned. My son told me privately that he wasn't ready to be a dad, especially since he wanted to get married first, finish college, then think about kids. But his fiancée insisted on going through with her pregnancy. She too is a college student and has no income. I found myself already paying for the nursery, clothes, essential stuff the baby will need, and I was told to step in since he's my grandbaby. Plus having to pay for her vitamins and doctor's appointments, food, etc. While my son has been focusing on studying, he kept telling me to do things on his behalf since he was busy. I honestly felt worried that the baby won't get the attention and care he needs with my son's behaviour. After talking to my son, he said it was okay for me to be present in the delivery room with his fiance to welcome my grandbaby and also support her. I thought we were on good terms till she blew up on me when I brought it up to her saying she doesn't want me there and wants my son instead. I was upset with how she was behaving, especially after everything I've done. I think I deserve some respect and my voice to be heard, but she kept lashing out at me when I told her I had the right and demanded to be present in the delivery room. She then went to my son and started yelling at him and calling him immature and selfish and doesn't deserve to be a dad since he wasn't interested like he's interested in his study. Oh my word, I think the mother in this one, although she seems to think that she's doing her best for them and, you know, paying for the vitamins and doctor's appointments and all this kind of stuff, but they're just not learning nothing by you taking over and taking control. You're just making yourself look like an arsehole to me. The son is just sitting back and doing his studies and not worrying about a goddamn thing because the mother's taking over. As a mother already, you should know how, you know, the daughter-in-law is feeling. You know, she's just about to give birth, an absolutely terrifying time, and she wants the person that, well, she thinks she can trust the most, which is obviously your son. But you're taking over and thinking that you have a right to be there. You absolutely do not have a right at all. If she doesn't want you there, she doesn't want anyone there. That's her right. But let's take a look at some of the comments to see what they say. Tira Anya says, "You're the arsehole. You've given birth before. You know how intimate and scary it can be. Support the mum in her choices." Edit, I get the confusion and can see where you felt like you're not being appreciated. But the minute you were told no, you should have stopped and accepted. Do the Pingu says, "You're the arsehole. The person giving birth decides who is in the delivery room. Period. If you do not want to contribute financially to your grandchild's life, then set some boundaries. Buying things for them does not mean you are entitled to butt into their private lives. It is not a good sign that your son agreed to let you in the delivery room. That was not his choice to make. He is very, very young to be a parent. If you want to have a good relationship with them going forward, you need to respect them and their choices." Curly Lock says, "You're the arsehole in so many ways. Get your nose out of their relationship while you come to terms with raising and continuing to enable a deadbeat." Me says, "You're the arsehole and your son too. She picks who gets to see the watermelon." She picks who gets to see a watermelon come out of her hoo-ha. It's Me B says, "You're the arsehole and big time. The only person who gets to decide who is in the room is the person giving birth." And Girl Next Door type says, "It's her medical procedure. He's not even allowed in unless she allows him. You're the arsehole." And finally, Nope Don't Care At All says, "You're the arsehole. How dare you? No, really, how dare you? This is coming from a woman in your own age group, not a young adult. You have absolutely no right to demand to be in the delivery room while another woman gives birth, no matter what you contributed over the pregnancy. You are a mother yourself. You know how intimate childbirth is. You know that it is the least decorous moment in a woman's life and how vulnerable we feel during the process, and you have the unmitigated audacity to demand to be in a room. Your son has no right to invite you to begin with. If you wanted to attend, you should have politely asked the mother to be yourself. Keep this behaviour up and I can promise you that you'll be missing more than the delivery of this baby, and you may as well lose grandmother privileges entirely. Get it together, OP, and I strongly suggest you apologise for your behaviour immediately and try to mend fences with the mother of your grandchild." Now, I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? It's kind of like we're seeing the other side of it. Usually it's the other way around in these stories, right? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. Once again, guys, thank you for being here today. The time out of your day is always truly, truly appreciated. So thank you so, so much. Why not come join us on Discord, get involved with our community there. The link is down in the description below. And you can also support the channel further if you choose so, no pressure, either on Patreon with the description down below, or clicking for YouTube membership with that join button. Thank you so, so much for your time, and I will see you, hopefully if you enjoyed the content of course, in the next one. Take care guys, much love.